Hi, I'm Abby and this is my story. So I came to Christ at the age of 13. I recommitted my life to Christ at the age of 21, and from then on my walk with God developed. I was working in an elementary school at the time, but really did not want to be working in an elementary school, but just didn't know what it was that I did want to do, sort of didn't really have a sense of direction or purpose in terms of career. But I was just sort of digging into the Word, listening to a lot of worship music and just trying to deepen my understanding of who God was and what it meant to sort of live every day for Him and with Him. A really, really influential person throughout my spiritual journey from that point of recommitting is a lady called Jean Watson, who lives in Kalamazoo in Michigan. She came and did a speaking event at my church, and God just really used her words, her music to just really speak to my heart and just keep speaking. We developed a really strong, deep friendship, and she became a sort of mentor to me. She had a lot of lived experience, a lot of stories of what God had done in her life, done in the lives of others through her. And I'm very fortunate that I was able to accompany her on some trips when she would come over to the UK and do these speaking events and music events. I'd like to say I went with her just to keep her safe on the roads because she's a liability, but actually it gave me a front row seat to just essentially watching God show off. Just seeing people experience God for the first time, seeing people come back to God, and then meeting people who had miraculous healings. For example, I met a girl called Charlotte who had gone to one of Jean's meetings at the age of 12 and had the faith to believe that God would restore her hearing. She was almost 100% deaf, and she went forward for prayer and God healed her. And I met her, and so for me as a young believer, getting to grips with who God was and just His sheer magnitude, to be hearing things like that on a fairly regular basis just makes you think, makes you realise there's nothing He cannot do. We just need to have a little bit of faith and just keep believing and walking with Him, and He can do amazing, amazing things. So in the middle of getting to know Jean and travelling with her and seeing all these amazing things and hearing these amazing stories, I was still personally struggling quite badly with depression, on and off medication, just nothing really seemed to help. So I was seeing these amazing things and watching God show up for the people, but then personally was really struggling. But I found that in those times, the things that I was hearing and seeing were such an encouragement, because it just kept reinforcing to me, God is real, look what He can do, just hang on, like He's with you, and you know, it is going to get better. Just that constant exposure to God and His mercy and His grace was just such a good reminder to me to just hold on and things will get better. So getting to go along on those trips really sort of helped me strengthen my faith and want to keep strengthening my faith, because, you know, you see stuff like that happening, and why would you not just want more and more and more of it? You know, our God is an amazing God. There's nothing he can't do. So it just really, that time just encouraged me so much, and just reinforced what I knew was true about God. Just got rid of any doubts I may have had, and when things inevitably did get tough, like I knew all these things, I'd seen and heard all these things. So I think the main thing for me during those early years of sort of being a baby Christian, if you like, was the importance of having an older Christian friend, someone who's got these life experiences, who can share testimony of the faithfulness of God through all life's ups and downs. And even in just the mundane things, it doesn't have to be anything miraculous, just someone who has faithfully walked with God for years and years and years and can testify to how he has never let them down. That can be so encouraging for someone who's just starting out and potentially is having doubts. Just hearing about God's consistent faithfulness can just really reassure and reaffirm somebody's faith. So a scripture that comes to mind when I look back at this part of my story would be Luke 15 verse 4, which says, "Suppose one of you has 100 sheep and loses one of them. Doesn't he leave the 99 in the open country and go after the lost sheep until he finds it? And when he finds it, he joyfully puts it on his shoulders and goes home." I was lost, and God pursued me. He literally sent somebody from the other side of the world to come and show me how special I was to him. The years and years of depression had completely robbed me of any sort of sense of self-worth, and he did all of that just to show me, wait a minute, I'd leave the 99 and I'd come looking for you. And he found me. What I would say to someone who is seeking to grow in Jesus and in their walk with him would be to surround yourself with Christians who have stories to tell, people who can testify to God's faithfulness in the good times and the bad. Be open to listening to others, be teachable, be honest about how you're feeling, and just be willing to learn from others. There is a wealth of wisdom within our church, within relationships that you have. Someone will have gone through what you're going through. Just reach out.